So today, before we start the show, I'll give a little intro that's been given, about you. So Dinesh Sir is a senior director at Deloitte, one of the world's biggest professional services company organization. And Dinesh Shah has a remarkable background. So basically, he lived as a monk in India for 14 years, where he practiced meditation for longer hours, maybe up to 6, 7 hours daily. He also taught world religions, Eastern and Western philosophy, and mysticism to new monks as a Guruji in the ashram. So he has a wealth of experience in meditation and spirituality. He is also a wellness coach who promotes a healthy lifestyle. He speaks on topics that help people transform their body, mind, and soul. In short, that's Mr. Dinesh Shah, who's here with us today to talk about many interesting aspects. I would probably call a walking yogi in the uh, concrete jungle right now that we are all in, and the digital jungle that we are in. So before we get into the interactive talk, sir, I would like to request you to conduct a 30-minute meditation. So in your presence, we would all like to get into the energy of you, and then we'll start the show if that's okay.
Absolutely fine.
Okay.
Just want to start by saying I feel deeply honored to have been invited on this platform. The Infinity series provides abundant inspiration for everyone. There is immense wisdom to glean from the lives and experiences of masters. I hope today's session can serve as an inspiration for at least some of the viewers.
Sir, so this show, I'm calling it a show. It is like a show, a bit unique to what usually happens, where do a talk and leave. It's a little more than that, where it'll be an interactive. So I would be asking some questions. It's like an interview, and then we'll be taking questions from the people as well. So it's a blend of your knowledge into through the questions that I ask for the people to hook into. So your journey is a amazing journey where it is unique because you have become a monk
Yes.
and then back into the world, leading everything. So before that, can you please tell about little about your journey, and then what led you to be a monk to start with? Like, how did you land into that state of thought of being a monk?
So good. Uh, some people use like two phrases for me, saying an ascetic to an executive or a sadhu to a senior director. So that's a journey. So let's sort of predate uh, the journey I had before becoming a sadhu. So I was born in Nairobi into a deeply religious family. From the age of 10, my mother would take me to the temple twice every day. So we had Mangla Aarti at 6 o'clock and Sandhya Aarti at 7 p.m. So the temple was about a 10-minute walk from where we lived. So I would go to temple twice every day, listen to discourses. From the age of 10, just being very religious, I used to fast twice a month on Ekadashi, and these fasts were without taking any food or even water. During the month of Shravan, I used to eat only once a day for the month of Shravan. The spiritual journey sort of was ignited by sadhus visiting from India to Nairobi. And that sort of ignited a strong desire within me to attain God in this lifetime. So consequently, I made a decision to become a sadhu myself. However, we migrated to the UK, And then it is from the UK that I went to India to become sadhu. During this childhood time, I was not focused on studies. I was not focused on a lot of things which, when we are children, we normally do. I was focused mainly on the temple and on religious things. The organization that I was part of is a bhakti organization. So the concepts are quite sort of different to the concepts that we now believe in. So I then left UK and I became a sadhu. Do you want me to continue with the sadhu experience? So
Sadhu experience.
I split my sadhu life, which was 14 years, like Lord Ram had 14 years of vanvas, I had 14 years of vanvas. So I split it into the first 4 years, which is becoming a sadhu and remaining in a lot of confusion. And the remaining 10 years where I was a sadhu and I had a lot of clarity. So as a sadhu, I spent the first 4 years of my life in an ashram in Ahmedabad. So we observe celibacy, we do not touch money, and our daily routine included performing puja, attending aarti, participating in discourses, studying Sanskrit, and engaging in activities relating to the propagation of the religion. So, however, doing all these things for 4 years, I didn't experience spiritual progress that I had sought. Yeah. So whenever I asked questions about spiritual journey to senior sadhus, the predominant response was obey the commands of the guru, the spiritual teacher. However, if I looked around, there were about 350, 400 sadhus, and everyone was obviously observing the commands of the spiritual guru, but then there were very few, I would say probably only 2 sadhus where I felt that they were enlightened, 2 to 3. The rest, so I didn't feel, I thought something was missing. I was more confused than the clarity that I should have had. So it was an organization centered around devotion. The discourses revolved around following the Guru's commands. The promise of reaching God's abode, which is supposed to be some millions of miles away, after death. So I remained unconvinced. My desire was to be able to experience God in the present moment, not in some distant future. I believed that transformation should occur here and now, rather than waiting for an afterlife. So after 4 years, I was transferred to an ashram in Sarangpur. It's in Gujarat itself, Sarangpur Hanuman, a small village in Saurashtra, Gujarat. This ashram served as a training center for newly initiated sadhus. So as a Guruji, I had the responsibility of teaching world religions, Eastern and Western philosophy, and mysticism to the newly initiated sadhus. Additionally, I taught English to the local sadhus. The second phase of my ascetic life started which I call sadhu and clarity. In Sarangpur, I had the incredible fortune of living in the presence of an enlightened master. And I used to attend his discourses twice a day. In the morning, all the sadhus sat in the General Assembly, where there would be about 200 to 250 sadhus in the assembly. And again at 4 p.m., he would give discourses, but this was a more intimate session attended by only a very few people. So if I look at my child, from childhood, I had been indoctrinated with religious principles that emphasized God's presence in specific places, like God's abode, images, temples, pilgrimage sites, and the Guru. According to these teachings, obedience to the Guru's commands was essential for attaining God. Joining this specific organization and becoming a devoted follower of this particular guru were seen as the path to moksha. So, however, in the presence of this enlightened master in Saranpur, my deeply ingrained beliefs began to crumble. He emphasized over and over again that God exists everyone. He echoed the ancient wisdom of Upanishads, Tattvamasi. You are Brahman. You are God. It was at that time I realized almost unwittingly that I had become entangled in a cult. However, because I'd already left samsara and I had become a sadhu, I decided that, I can do meditation. I will stay here and finish my journey as a sadhu. So once I had the privilege of going on to a pilgrimage to the Himalayas. Specifically, we visited Badrinath, Kedarnath, and Gangotri. After returning, upon prostrating before the enlightened master, he unexpectedly, lovingly slapped me. His stern words followed. He said, "Where has all your knowledge gone? Do you believe that you will attain God by visiting places of pilgrimage? Do you believe you will attain God by visiting temples? Do you think you will attain God by worshipping images? Do you think that you will attain God by worshipping gurus?" Then he said, "Look within, start meditating." This was a turning point in my spiritual journey. This incident profoundly shaped my life and marked the true beginning of my spiritual journey. It is after this incident that I committed to 6 hours of meditation daily, maintained silence up to 9 hours every day, and within a very short period of time, meditation profoundly transformed my life. It brought me a sense of calm and inner peace. Even today at work, people still ask me the same question: how can you remain so calm? So this is basically a result of meditation. My transformation, and I'm not talking about just myself, there were 3 of us who obviously followed the same journey. So our transformation became quite evident to those around us. Regrettably, our peers, unfortunately, had a lot of jealousy. That jealousy led to persecution, ultimately forcing the 3 of us to leave the organization, the ashram, after 14 years of having been there. Then, obviously, we come to the readjustment to the materialistic life. Now, life throws curveballs at us. And this curveball is something that I had never imagined. The result of leaving the ashram nearly at the age of 40, I found myself literally on the streets, penniless, jobless, and without a university degree. I had no place to stay, and my life, which had been sheltered for the previous 14 years, suddenly collided with the harsh reality of the world. I had lost the ability to care for myself. I had lived a life of celibacy, avoiding money altogether for 14 years. And what made it more difficult for me was that I could not immediately return to my family in the UK. During these challenging times, the years and the long hours of meditation were my true guiding light. I had to wait 2 years before being able to return to the UK. During that time, my parents, my brothers and sisters offered unwavering support, for which I am deeply grateful. Their encouragement helped me navigate the challenges that I faced. Dr. Butch, a surgeon in Mumbai, my brother's friend, graciously welcomed me into his home as a family member, where I stayed for over 2 years. I'm deeply, deeply grateful to the Butch family for the support that they provided me during those 2 years. The Butch family holds a special place in my heart. They are a second family to me. Now, throughout those 2 years, I had a lot of time on my hands. So what did I do? I immersed myself in intense visualization. I practiced visualizing more than at least 50 times every day, with each session lasting less than a minute. In my mind's eye, I pictured myself reunited with my family in the UK, having become a chartered accountant and also holding a very senior position in a prominent firm. I practiced these visualizations against the backdrop of total uncertainty, the impossibility of me ever being able to return to the UK, being penniless, jobless, and without a university degree. There are two potent tools available to everyone. One is meditation, and the other is visualization. They require no cost, can be practiced by people of any age, in any situation, at any time, and in any location. You don't need to attend any paid classes or courses to learn meditation and visualization. As far as visualization is concerned, there are no constraints. The only limitations are the limitations we impose upon ourselves by our limiting beliefs and thoughts. I also enrolled in various courses to occupy my time. I was surrounded by students who were 20 years younger and electronic engineers, but I persevered. Remarkably, I had never used a computer before. My secret weapon was visualization. I would imagine myself acing those exams with top marks. In the end, I successfully passed nearly 40 exams, consistently achieving the highest scores. I returned to the UK, started my accountancy studies. I enrolled for 2 levels together, and the course tutor told me that it will be impossible for you to pass both levels at the same time. So I told the tutor that I've already paid for the courses and I've already paid for the exams. So therefore, I will go ahead and we will see what happens. Again, using visualization, I passed those exams and completed all my accountancy studies within 15 months. So everything that I had been visualizing in Mumbai for those 2 years actually manifested within a very few years after returning to the UK.
Yeah, that's a wonderful journey. So what I see in your journey, or what I sensed is, see, a lot of people, we read books and meditate so much, and we gather a lot of knowledge. But what many of the seekers miss is applying that spirituality when the real situation comes into life. So what I see is, like, you have been an example of applying spirituality into life when it is tough, when we need something, through visualization, through all these aspects, right? So that's truly inspiring, definitely, for many people. So you being a monk and also coming back to the normal world, what is your suggestion? Because I have come across many. I myself at one point of time thought of, just shutting the world off, go to Himalayas or somewhere, the fancy worlds that books, inspire us or pump us more than inspiration. It is ignite us, right? What do you think? Like, do we really need to leave the world and go somewhere to become enlightened based on your experience? Um, and what is your take on that?
So one important thing is, which obviously all scriptures and all enlightened masters say, is Tattvamasi. We are that. So the important message is we don't need to go anywhere to become enlightened. That is very, very important to understand. Yeah, because we get attracted by that this place is really beautiful. There is a great, sorry, I'm going to use the word pyramid. Yeah, there is a great pyramid there. We need to go there and meditate. Pyramid energies will definitely help us. But the important thing is, as far as our scriptures are concerned, as far as our enlightened masters tell us, we are already that. Transformation is not necessary. We are not transformed. The soul doesn't get transformed. The soul does not get going to higher realms. The soul is already Brahman. It does not need to become Brahman. Therefore, I strongly believe we need to spend good, dedicated time every day in the midst of these activities in meditation. We need to take more breaks, and in those breaks, we need to meditate. So the cult that I was part of, the spiritual master or the Lord, has said in one of his scriptures where he says, in India, where women used to go and fetch water from the wells. So he said, when you go and fetch water, sometimes they have a child which is tied at the back. They have got a bucket. They go to the well, they put their foot on the well. So one of their focus is on the foot so that they don't fall in. The other focus is on the child which has been tied on. And the third focus is on the bucket. So he very clearly says is one of the focus in all our activities needs to be on who we truly are, not the body, but the soul within. So he very clearly stated you can do everything whilst you are in a materialistic life, but it is important because having stayed in the ashram amongst 500 sadhus, as I mentioned earlier, I could see only 2 or maximum 3 who were enlightened. So going somewhere either to the Himalayas or joining a big organization or a cult does not guarantee anything. It doesn't guarantee that we'll become enlightened. What is important is the fire within which needs to be ignited, that this is something that we want to do. So I don't believe that going somewhere will achieve much more than what you can achieve where you are.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. That's a really because I still see few people who starts meditation right away. The first thought after a few books and few meditations is like to copy someone who ran away. So uh, that's a good insight, and you are the living example of how to be spiritual, living among the society and living whatever life that we are already living. That's a great example. Another interesting part that I have seen in your journey is like, teaching world religions and Eastern and Western philosophy to the monks. What is your take on how should man approach these world religions? There are many, it's not particular to anything. So, and what role does these religions play in the spirituality?
So,
If you may, because
so
this topic is something that we don't ask everyone, but you have seen many and you have taught, so I feel it's relevant to ask this.
So everyone is very, very close to the religions. Nobody wants to accept beliefs of other religions. Okay. So we have, I think, from a practical perspective, we should respect all religions. We should not say that this religion is right or this religion is wrong. However, in addition to the two subjects that I taught, I also taught mysticism. Mysticism is the study of spiritual aspirants who actually become enlightened. And the result, the end result, the enlightenment result is the same for anyone walking on any path. A Sufi has the same enlightenment result as Narasimha Mehta. Narasimha Mehta said, it's in Gujarati, but I'll translate it. Jagine joyu to jagat dishe nahi. Brahma latka kare Brahma sathe. When I became enlightened, I saw that there is no world. It was Brahma playing with Brahma. So, it is just basically everything is one. There was a Christian mystic, Descartes, I think in the 15th or 16th century. And he became enlightened. And he said, when I woke up, I saw that there was no one else. Neither the father, neither Mary, or nor the son. No one was there. I was alone. So, the ultimate experience, whatever tradition or path a person may have followed, if the fire within was strong and they persevered, then the ultimate experience is the same.
That's really good, how to approach, take the concept of religion into spirituality. So that's amazing. So another part that has actually really driven me about curiosity, or maybe I'm going back a little bit into your transformation, is like, yeah, we understand that you became a monk and then you came back into the world, into the normal world. What triggered you to become, getting into a technical space or working as a job? Maybe after coming back also into the world, like you would have taken pure spirituality, or or become a spiritual teacher or a guru in the society, and then continued like that. But you became a professional. You literally have taken a sansara and fully into it. So what made you, what sort of thought process has brought you from monk into the...
Good question. So when I obviously the incidents that happened, which led me to leave the ashram, had a pretty significant impact. And that obviously that cult is reputed to be one of the sort of really fastest growing cults in Hinduism. So from what I saw, I did not want to ever join another organization or set up one. And finding myself sort of penniless, I had to do something to earn a living. And I just felt that I would need to earn money to live. I didn't feel it right to walk on the spiritual path, teach spirituality, and ask for money. It just didn't feel right.
Sorry, I was talking. That's really good to know, because that's exactly, even I resemble a lot with you, where why I am working. I know my purpose. I understand this push from inside, but I also feel that um, the righteous living, one of the path that Buddha has said, right? So for living, um, has to happen naturally, and then it's not about living on spirituality. However, we need to find a way to fulfill the responsibilities that we have. So um, that's a great thing. And then your your presentation there in Germany
Yes.
was amazing and outstanding. But the
Thank
facts, actually, there are, even being a spiritual teacher myself, I talk a lot of philosophy as well in the process of touching hearts. But at the same time, um, there is a need for talking the facts. Okay, you have come up with a lot of facts in the space of health. So, with your experience, briefly, I feel that our audience and then the people on the YouTube need to know that your take on food, the need of food for us, and then how should we approach this whole aspect of food
So let me
briefly.
go to the incident that triggered me going into the wellness space. So my wife and I were taking a walk 5, 6 years ago in the morning. We generally go for an hour's walk in the morning. And we were walking in a park. There's a sort of a uphill, and she's 10 years younger than I am. So, but she was becoming quite breathless. And I became worried that she is young and, why is she becoming breathless? So then my eldest brother, being a GP, I sort of asked him that this is what I have observed. So he asked me to basically get an urgent appointment with our doctor, our GP. We did that. And the first thing the GP did was, get a few blood tests done, measure our blood pressure, etc., etc., etc. Everything was done, and the ECG was done. Everything came back completely normal. Then I reminded the GP that uh, my father-in-law passed away when he was only 28 with a heart attack. And therefore, he then sent my wife with an urgent referral to a local hospital. They repeated all the tests and everything again, came completely normal. Then they did a CT angiogram, which then resulted in her showing a blocked artery. We received a call from the hospital that my wife requires a stent to be inserted. And at that time, obviously, I didn't have any knowledge about stents and bypass surgeries and anything at all. So, and we had to go the following week. So we went. Luckily, the cardiologist sort of took my wife into the operating theater. They did a angiogram. They came back after like 20 minutes, and he said that we did not have to put a stent in because the blockage is not 80%, it is only 50%. However, she will need to take this cocktail of drugs for the rest of her life. My wife started taking those drugs. However, because of various side effects, she had to stop because they were quite sort of high dose medicines. So I started doing some research on how can you reverse heart disease without having to take all these drugs. And I stumbled upon a lot of really good work done by doctors, by scientists on how to prevent and reverse heart disease. And that also included cancer, that also included diabetes and various other things. Predominantly, it was Dr. Esselstyn's book, How to Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, and all various other doctors that I read. And from that day, we obviously changed our diet, and it makes a world of difference to health, but not only to the physical health. Our medication becomes so much better because we are not putting any junk into the body. So my take on food, on wellness is this is the instrument that God has given us in order to become enlightened. We need to take care of this instrument, as Buddha said, the middle path, neither of the extremes. So in order to take care of this physical body that we've got, food has a very, very big impact. If we think that we eat food only for the energy that we require to do our work, then I think we are probably seriously mistaken. The food that we eat makes the cells that we have in our body. And the food that we eat can either be the kerosene or the gasoline on the illnesses that we have, or it can be the water and it can douse the fire of chronic illnesses. So eating a whole food plant-based diet really, really helps. Similarly, I do sessions on sort of 6 pillars of wellness. The first pillar being fasting, the second pillar being eat to beat disease, the third pillar being meditation, the fourth pillar being sleep is the silent healer, the fifth pillar being breathing correctly, and the sixth pillar being move more to live more. We need a holistic approach which includes meditation and taking care of ourselves with the other 5 pillars.
That's definitely a very important thing. I'm sure we would like to have that wellness one separately. 100% need a dedicated session on it, because your knowledge in it is outstanding. Very good. So just one sec, sir. So yeah, another important question that I wanted to ask you before we go to the questions from the audience is what is your drive today, right now, to spread the spirituality to one and all? Yes, you have been a monk, you've been a successful person in the corporates, and what is actually driving you to teach this knowledge or convey this message to humanity?
So about 3 years ago, my wife was meditating in one part of the our lounge, and I was meditating on another part of the lounge. We were in deep. I was in deep meditation, and Patriji came onto the UK platform, and then my wife was meditating, and Patriji, obviously, she wanted to ask Patriji a question, so she asked Patriji a question, and Patriji said, and then she explained how she came into meditation. So she came into meditation because of an incident that happened in her life. She lost her hearing in both ears completely. She became completely deaf overnight. That resulted obviously in depression, in chronic depression. I used to always tell her that, meditate. If you meditate, then at least, you will be able to come out of the depression. So, and then it also resulted in her losing her job and various other things happened. She was listening to a lot of spiritual stuff. And then once she stumbled across one of the videos in pssm where people, speak about their experiences. So it is then that she started meditating. And she told Patriji all these things. So Patriji said, "Where is your husband right now?" So she said, he's meditating. He said, "Call him." So I came, and then he called me Swamiji. Patriji called me Swamiji. So being a sadhu. So we talked, and then he said, "You should take sessions." So basically, my taking sessions in Beam and the pssm network, the UK network, have started since then. So I'm sort of saying, it's Patriji's wish, and I'm sort of doing what he has asked me to do.
That's a great thing. So he's one such instrument for many spiritual teachers today, where it's strongly believed in not just meditating for ourselves. Our meditation should contribute and pass this on to everyone. Do you have any memory that you have that you could share with all of us with Patriji? Where apart from that, do you have any such interactions?
Unfortunately, that was the only incident that I had with Patriji. Just one incident, and the memory is he called me a Swamiji. I hadn't told him that I was a sadhu. Yeah, he called me Swamiji, and then he said, "Swamiji, you should take sessions." I said, "Fine, I'll take sessions."
even just one interaction and then such strong that you are contributing so much to the humanity, and then today you are here with us on this wonderful platform and then giving such wonderful knowledge to all of us. um, so before we that was a great interaction. So before we go to any questions from the audience, sir, do you have any message for all the spiritual seekers on this platform today?
So, I mean, this message is basically for for everyone, yeah, to pursue a successful life, both spiritually and materially. Life has taught me two clear and concise lessons. One is meditate. Meditation reduces stress, it improves our focus, it brings emotional balance, it fosters inner connection, it enhances our self-awareness, and it aligns us with our higher consciousness. And it is the only tool for achieving enlightenment. So let's dedicate some time daily to meditation, whether it's 15 minutes, half an hour, or more. Ideally, practicing twice a day. Morning when we are fresh, our mind is not cluttered, so it has a greater impact for the day. And sometime in the evening or before going to bed, it helps take away all the chatter that has gone on in the mind. And the second thing is visualize. Now, obviously, some of us would feel that there is no need to visualize, and which is fine. But if youth and others, if you have aspirations, then visualize as if you've already achieved your aspirations. Throughout the day, immerse in those mental images. By doing so, we will align our thoughts, our intentions to the desired outcomes, paving the success in both spiritual and worldly pursuits. The universe then helps us achieve our aspirations. So meditate and visualize.
It's a wonderful message. Meditate and visualize the need of the hour for many, I mean, all the people on earth right now, because that's what is lacking. So thank you so much for that message. I know, being coming from orthodox, not orthodox, probably a religious family, and then you said like your background of fasting from the childhood and then doing all the prayers and everything. Um, and now you are in a Western country, right? So in the Western mindset. So how do you approach in your sessions? How do you approach the Western community? With what sort of what do you think is the need of the hour that we need to focus on with in spirituality to the Western community with your
So
experience?
it's very simple. If I think about myself 20 years ago, when I was back, started working, um, because of the corporate lifestyle, you go out, you have to go out to parties and to events. And in the events, you are a vegetarian, you don't drink, you don't smoke. So people sort of feel and think that he's leading such a boring life. Yeah.
Yeah,
20 years hence, everything's changed in the Western world. There is so much importance being given to meditation, to mindfulness, to mental health. There is so much importance given to wellness, to leading a vegetarian or even a plant-based life. So the way I approach this is, before I used to feel a bit sort of hesitant. I was always hesitant in talking about these things. Now I do not feel hesitant at all. In fact, wherever we go, and I'm perhaps in the midst of very senior stakeholders, and they actually, all of them appreciate what I do. They all appreciate the knowledge and the wisdom that I impart. I do a lot of these wellness sessions in Deloitte itself, and they are very well received. So everything has changed. So in the Western world, in fact, probably more so, people are very receptive to meditation, wellness, plant-based diets, etc.
yeah, that's a good one. Okay, I have a question from Lavanya in the chat with me. Can you please a little bit throw some light on the 6 pillars specifically that you have mentioned? What are those pillars, and then briefly on each of those pillars, if you can.
So first one is fasting. So fasting helps the body to detox. Fasting helps the body to recover. Our body has the capacity to heal itself. If somebody has been smoking for 30, 40 years, 20 cigarettes every day, you give it 5 years and the body itself will clear all the tar from the lungs. So the body has a capacity to heal itself. So some form of fasting we should all incorporate in our lives. It could be intermittent fasting. It could be 1 day a week fasting. It could be juice fasting. It could be water only fasting. So fasting helps in the body, recovering from all the effects of today's life. The second one is eat to beat disease, and that is all about eating a whole food plant-based diet where we give up animal products, where we give up dairy, where we give up all processed foods, where we give up sugar, and where we give up oil as much as possible. So this will help reverse chronic illnesses, it will reverse hypertension, type 2 diabetes, etc., even some cancers, etc. So it really helps. The third is meditation, which I don't need to speak about. This channel, that is what we do. The fourth is sleep is the silent healer. All of us need to, because during sleep, a lot of the repair work of the body takes place. So we should be sleeping at least 6 to 8 hours every day, and that sleep needs to be deep. So in that session, I go over the importance of sleep, what could help us sleep better, the cycles, 4 to 5 cycles that we go through in sleep. The fifth wellness pillar is breathing. We all of us, because of the lives that we lead, we probably do not breathe correctly. We are breathing from the chest rather than the diaphragm. So some importance is given to the breathing and how we can change that. That is that one. And the final one is move more, live more. And that final pillar is all about not just taking an hour's walk or half an hour's walk every day. It's about making sure that we are moving throughout the day, because sitting is the new tobacco. Sitting, it does a lot of harm to our bodies, and most of our jobs are actually sitting these days. So these are the 6 pillars of wellness.
That's really great. So Lavanya, that's your question. So that's amazing. Anyone else has any questions to Dinesh sir before we? All right. If no further questions, we are in a good state. First of all, I really thank, and it's my pleasure to be, because on the day after the talk, I couldn't interact with you with all the, but this platform gave me an opportunity to be able to speak to you. So we are going to request you for more and more talks from you on these specific topics, and your experience and your knowledge is very much required to many of these listeners that we have. So thanks so much for accepting our invitation and then gracing that platform on today's work. Thank you so much. And now this program is being sponsored by Omega Pyramid program from Dallas, Sharma Sir, or if someone from Omega Pyramid is, before closing the session, if they're there, then they can give a quick overview of the project and thank us. So do we have anyone from Omega Pyramid, Sharma Sir or someone? All right, then. Yeah, if they're not there, then that's okay. Sir, Sharma sir, you're saying something?
Yeah, I was trying to unmute.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for inviting me to talk to the great master here. Uh, Thank you, Dinesh sir. Thank you so much. Wonderful session, wonderful knowledge, wisdom. So you mentioned during the course of this interaction about pyramids. So I just wanted to ask a quick question. Do you have any experiences with the pyramids?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't. I haven't I haven't come to Hyderabad to sit in the pyramid, nor have I been to Bosnia yet. But I will definitely be visiting Hyderabad.
Okay. So I live in Dallas. So we are going to build a huge pyramid in Dallas. So I would like to seek your blessings for this Omega Pyramid coming in Dallas.
I think the universe will actually make me come to Dallas.
That's great, sir.
Absolutely.
I think a trip to the US, sort of in my corporate world, is overdue. So perhaps we will meet.
There you go. We
That-
have a reason to meet.
yeah. Yeah.
We-
Great, great. Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Hari sir, for
Thanks.
calling me. Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir. Thank you so much. So we thank the sponsors from Omega Team for this amazing program. And thank you so much, Dinesh ji, for gracing this event once again. And with that, for the audience, that's such a great, amazing show today. By Dinesh sir, we'll meet again in our next Infinity session. Until then, thank you so much and goodbye, everyone. Thank you.